of stream. Today we are watching LNG go up against Suning. This is the first match of playoffs. Wait, yes, this is the first match of playoffs that we're going to be watching. I'm very excited. Unfortunately, I had to cut short my other series in order to go into playoffs. It's been a hectic couple of months, but let's just see how it goes on. LNG locking in that Lee Sin for most likely, actually, it can be anybody, but chances are it's not going to be Tarzan as the Xin Zhao has been banned. Diana has fallen out of favor in recent months as Suning opt for the Ziggs as well as the Graves. Graves still not one of the more popular junglers that you tend to see around. So already a nice little twist coming out. Graves is supposed to do well at least against Lee Sin, Xing Zhao, Olaf to a certain extent because it allows you to run into your enemy's jungle, allows you to take away their farms. You of course farm a lot faster, but already with the Lee Sin pick out, it looks like LNG are going to leave it to Light and I1D to make some plays in this bot lane, opting for some mobility with the Vayne as well as the scaling alongside. Vayne against Graves, I'm not quite sure if that's a very enjoyable matchup come the mid game when Graves really hits his stride and really unlocks the ability to pretty much 3-shot squishies as LNG now looking for another pick. They can of course opt for going for the cannon instead. So LNG already off the bat have quite a low range composition. So on the side of Suning, it would be to their benefit, I do believe, to get some more range. I wouldn't hate a Zoe pick here. Get you some mid priority, allows you to play well with the Graves, as well as the fact that it gives you tons of course of priority as the Ngar pick is being hovered. One of Bin's more played champions this split. Of course the Gwen is still up, the Viego is still up. Will those picks make it around to the second round of picks? I find it kind of unlikely as Ale still has the Akali pick, of course, which is still available, has the Gwen as well. And now let's see what goes on as Suning looking for ban number 4 coming in here. There's still a support and still most likely a jungler that has yet to be picked. Of course, this Lee Sin could be flexed in all 3 lanes, but considering the cannon pick, that it will not be a top lane Lee Sin most likely, as the Rakan ban does come out. Suning, interesting because Rakan does pair decently with the Ziggs, of course. LNG could look to ban out some supports as well. The engaged supports are still available, the Leona and the Nautilus, as well as a Trundle, a new favorite paired with the Ziggs, allows for good disengage. In fact, the Trundle pick might be quite key here for Suning. So I'm pretty sure LNG, we will see them ban it out most likely. Alistar, also tons of disengage, just throws away the cannon, bounces him out of the fight. Of course, the set is still available as well. On the side of Suning, it's not so clear what they can opt to ban. Considering LNG kind of have a dive competition going on, I really wouldn't hate to see a Leona or a Not ban. Though they can opt to ban the Leona or the Not and then pick the remainder, as I'm pretty sure LNG is going to want to ban a Trundle here, because Trundle just seems so good as the set pick is indeed is indeed banned on the side of Suning. Let's see what LNG opts to do, as so far LNG have not really found their stride come the tail end of the fall split. Of course, in the beginning they started out really strong, going pretty much unbeaten and topping the charts as the more Malzahar ban comes out from the side of LNG. Could this be a sign that they want to play something more even shorter range in the mid lane? We could see potential assassins here as the Trundle pick does get locked in. It was just too perfect for the composition. It really counters LNG really well, provides a lot of zoning, provides tons of disengage and even some decent engage when you max out that pillar of cost. The slow that it provides after being spawned is absolutely devastating, and being able to knock a cannon away from your team ever so slightly and then slow him is about as bad as it can get, as looks like Light is going to be locking in the LeBlanc. Of course, LeBlanc gathering a lot of popularity. With the Syndra ban, it'll be interesting to see what goes on as the Yuumi is hovered. It's very unlikely that it's going to be a Yuumi pick, of course, because Yuumi kind of means that you are seeding bot lane entirely. Not that the bot lane of Suning can really capitalize too heavily on that. That being said, Trundle does provide a lot of early pressure. The Rel pick here does not look great. I would much prefer to see a Leona pick or even a Not pick, but it looks like Rel is what they're going to go for more of that team fighting support engage, which is actually really the Rel in lane is going to absolutely suffer because of course of the satchel charge as well as the Pillar of Filth, though I should call Pillar of Ice, because both of those of course will disjoint her her dismount as well as her mount up ability because she needs to run at you. So really interesting choices here coming out from LNG as Suning look to pick out the Lissandra, a direct counter to the LeBlanc, much harder to kill in lane, especially when he runs the Aftershock, which is what I, of course, most likely to see him run. Let's see, comparing the two sides now. Top lane, we have equal range Yordle matchups. Don't expect too much to go on over there. I'd say priority would be in favor of Bin, who does, of course, have more AoE spells. In the jungle, SOFM is just going to be wanting to do what SOFM does and farm like crazy, while Tarzan's going to want to impact lanes, most likely mid lane as well as top lane, because bot lane is a farm fiesta for either side. SN, I think, are Suning are stronger towards the bot side, but the mid jungle 2v2 is, I'm going to say, in favor of LNGs, in which case it is mostly up to LNG in the early game to start making plays. Ale, of course, the most recent addition to this LNG lineup, has absolutely played fantastically, as look, him and Tarzan with matching black stickers on their arms, ready to make plays. Really, it's going to be of those three LNG players that we have just seen most recently on screen, who are going to have to pretty much get things done in the early game, as Light and Iwandi just try to hold out from the onslaught of the Ziggs harass and the power of early game Trundle to try and get to a strong later stage. Honestly though, I feel like Suning do scale pretty decently with the range advantage they have from the Ziggs, with the disengage they get from the Trundle, and with the team fighting capabilities that they of course have unlocked with the Lissandra from her passive and her ultimate, of course, as well as the Ngar from his ultimate. As we load into the game, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick second here to appreciate our sponsors. And now looking at the runes, nothing too surprising coming out, I suppose, from either side. Interesting that SOFM opted for the Electrocute as opposed to the Phase Rush, going for more aggression. Airy in the top side for Ale against Bin with his fleet footwork on Ngar. As we now charge forward, don't expect too much level 1 shenanigans to unwind before us, truth be told, because of course there is not too much CC on either side of the table from either the top laners or the mid laners, unless of course they really want to. Oh, never mind. Angel actually opting for the W start in order to proc his Aftershock immediately right from the get-go off of level 1. SOFM is just going to be looking to farm up a Storm as previously mentioned. So it's going to be interesting to see how LNG managed to, how Tarzan in particular manages to play this out, because of course he gets the entirety of the early game pretty much to himself to start making some plays. Mid priority, I must say, is going to be in favor of Angel, which is going to hamper his abilities ever so slightly. And SOFM, with the ability to get some of that true grit passive up, will of course be able to trade pretty decently between when it comes down to a 1v1 between him and Tarzan. When it comes to mid-game power, of course, Lee Sin is going to definitely be quite a bit provide more utility with an engage, a little bit of tankiness as well, of that gore drinker capabilities, as oh, that's how they managed to spot out the ward, as Icon just jumping over the wall with the distortion, using a little bit of mana initially in order to get a little bit ahead. As the fight unwinds down bot lane, On already being jumped onto by Iwandi, ignited out, but it looks like he's going to be able to walk out of this. No heal is available in the bot side for Suning, as interestingly enough, Light actually opting for the cleanse for the mid to late game situations, I think, when Angel wants to jump onto him, given his low range. Actually, this Lissandra pick is pretty massive, as Ale now being jumped onto here by Bin, as the Yordles go at each other, both without a secondary resource pretty much, as Ale takes a better side of the trade, but Bin already healing up ever so slightly with his fleet footwork, as well as additional stats he gets from entering his Mega Ngar stance. And it looks like Tarzan will be opting for a full clear from the top side, while SOFM, I expect, wanting to make sure that his top laner, who is known for being hyper aggressive and trying to dominate his lanes, is as safe as possible, and that's why he is pathing towards the top side. Also because there's really nothing much to be done in this bot side. It looks like a little bit of a dive could be going on here, as Tarzan actually leaving his entire bot side camps with only blue buff, having hit level 3 off of 3 camps. Teleports are available, of course, from Bin and Angel, as well as the top laners from LNG, as the dive initiates. Exhaust thrown down onto Wanfeng, who is hit up. Trade kills go down as Iwandi falls as well. Light tanking a tower shot, going exceptionally low. And overall in all, this was pretty good, I'd say, for Suning, because of course a 1-for-1 under tower. Wanfeng even has the teleport to get back to lane, literally missing 0 CS, or maybe 1 or 2 to the tower, which On managed to pick up. And that's the reason why the Trundle and Ziggs is so perfect for each other, because Trundle provides a nice little bit of CC with his E, a little bit of disruption, as well as the fact that Trundle does so much damage early game. That, of course, is the reason for the Hail of Blades. Now, on the top side, Ale is not going to be in danger of a dive here, of course, because the wave has not been stacked well enough, but been autoing this wave very, very aggressively. Could allow for a dive, but it looks like SOFM is not going to be looking for it, as Icon chucking a pink ward into the bush, missing actually the ward that was placed by SOFM, as a few of the support roams do come in now to secure vision. LNG, very nice control of the river entrances towards mid lane from either side of their jungle. In fact, just river vision in general is pretty even here. Looking at the bot lane, never mind. Let's see what went on here. As On pretty much couldn't do anything here. I1D jumping right onto Huanfeng with the stun of the track repel. Nice flash coming out from Huanfeng. Unfortunately, the Sonic Wave already tagged down, but really the second part of the Sonic Wave did negligible amounts of damage due to the exhaust and light actually taking one tower shot and basically nearly getting exploded. Of course, that was a fully stacked tower, and On has entered the river now, looking to clear our waves. Does have the mid priority afforded him by Angel in order to allow this to happen. And looking at the CS now, things are looking quite even across the board, and really the kills having been equalized, Suning still have managed to gather themselves up quite a bit of a lead already. 500 gold 4 minutes into the game, a little bit more than a kill, a little bit less than 2. As now Angel might be caught out of position here, as he's going to get jumped onto. Does have the claw to get him into safety, dodging away from the Sonic Wave. Dragon is going to be spawning right about now, but it looks like neither team is really going to be in a position to do it. Of course, either jungle can solo it relatively easily, but mid priority and broad priority are just in a constant state of flux right now, even though you'd expect Suning to be in control of both. Of course, in the bot lane, the harass has begun. Huanfeng does need to be careful, of course. Cannot really afford to spend all his mana at just chucking bouncing grenades at Light, considering the fact that Light does have the tumble to dodge away from it. Already Tarzan, having made the initial move, is already quite a bit more proactive, some might say, than SOFM, as he's spotted now on a ward, perfectly placed deep into mid lane. SOFM now hovering on the bot side along with him, looking for a counter gank opportunity. Is 1 level up, 8 CS up, as Icon jumps forward with his distortion. Does have his ultimate available, can use it to run away, but the chains are what he has in store for his ultimate, so he actually didn't have a second round of distortion due to the chains being chucked out. And with this SOFM, it's just going to help Angel crash this wave in. Icon does not have his teleport available, as in comes a rotation now from I1D as well as Tarzan. Summoner spells are available for Angel as well as Icon, as Tarzan is now just skulking towards the side. I1D as well, just looking for an opportunity. Angel is a bit low on mana, does have his ultimate however, and looks like Dragon could be a potential objective here. SOFM, after completing the crab, having smited it, I suppose that's an indicator that he is not in the least interested. As the ping does go down towards top side, I think Ale is a little bit worried based on the fact that Bin is building a wave up now, but they do spot SOFM entering the jungle. Tarzan on a ward, gets spotted out, does manage to clear it out immediately with his passive attack speed bonus. As in the bot side, LNG looking to go aggressive. Teleports are not available for either mid laner, but both top laners do have it available. Angel is backing off now. Looks like we can have a little fight here, possibly a 4v4 of the top lane teleports available. SOFM is in the bush. Tarzan checking for Dragon, thinking that SOFM is in the pit, walking now straight into it, as On is tagged up against the wall by the Condemn. Exhaust goes down onto Light, as I1D is just frontlining, is now incredibly slow, even slower now, forced to flash away from the pillar, as well as SOFM, as Icon was making his way down river. Angel, having just left the base, signals his team to retreat. Huanfeng is a little bit low on mana, and now could be a little bit could have a little bit of a harder time getting bot priority, as SOFM now returns to his side of jungle, looking to be as efficient as possible. Already a little more aggression shown on either side of the game. Still, the gold lane maintains at 600 gold, and like 2 ships passing in the night, really nothing much happens here. Angel playing quite safe, not very sure where Tarzan could be, most likely towards the top side, because they have pretty decent bot side vision. In fact, the vision game is pretty decent from either side, as oh my goodness, blue buff nearly runs out of patience and resets. SOFM so far 0, 0, and 0, has not really participated in this game very much. In fact, hasn't even been able to steal away very many camps. Has perhaps gotten himself a few more scuttle crabs, but Tarzan not at all behind when it comes to the CS, as we see only 4 CS behind. And now, after he finishes his Grom, is going to be exactly in stride. Pretty good job, considering that Lee Sin really doesn't have too much wave clear to boast of, aside from the E, of course. Now, Rift Herald has spawned, and this could be an objective of interest for either team. Both teams have pretty decent scaling, but really spike at the mid game. So it's just going to be continuous contest. Both teams looking for opportunities to get ahead. Now, Suning's jungler and mid laner have found themselves in quite a tight spot, as Iwandi and Icon do have a pincer maneuver onto them. Looks to be a 5v4 with Light very much out of position, only finishing his recall right now. Not even going to crash the wave into the tower as Angel gets jumped onto by Icon, electrocuted as procced. Angel taking really negligible amounts of damage. We have 5 members of Suning in this location, while LNG only have 4. Iwandi X flashing over the wall. Smite goes down. Suning does manage to secure it as the pillar comes down. Ale, who might have to force his flash out here, does use it as well as the blast plant to get into safety. And Suning, leveraging their man advantage, do manage to pick up this Rift Herald. And of course, Rift Herald with Ziggs will allow for a lot of structural damage to the side of LNG, allow themselves to snowball the game, and with the teleport, Huanfeng won't even miss too much of a beat. But it looks like with that teleport on, has found himself very much out of position, forced to flash away after the Condemn connects, as Dragon could be a consolation objective here for the side of LNG. It doesn't look to be so, as all the members do part away from it. Angel is making a rotation up towards top side, maybe looking to clear out vision, maybe also looking for a gank, as the wave is a bit frozen towards Suning's side of the rift. And now we just get a quick drink. So, most likely SOFM is going to want to use this Rift Herald towards bot side where the Ziggs is, in which case it's going to be up to LNG to be able to track SOFM in order to ensure that he doesn't manage to do this freely, because of course if the Rift Herald connects and if the Ziggs is allowed to throw in some of his passive auto attacks in, as well as just basic auto attacks, most likely the tower will fall in that one exchange, with the satchel charge bringing the tower from about 1.5 plates to 0 instantaneously. A huge influx of gold, after which point Ziggs is going to want to rotate. Already we see SOFM making his way down, probably just waiting for Angel to get back to his lane, as well as the fact that all the teleports are available for either team. In fact, the only summoner spells that are not available now are Suning's support, as well as LNG's top laner. Ale and On are the only members who do not have their flashes available, so looks like it could be a very explosive fight, as already SOFM is making his way down towards bot side. Tarzan on the opposite side of that will not be able to contribute to this situation, so LNG are going to have to give up this tower, unfortunately, as Light is going to be a little bit behind in terms of gold. Huanfeng is going to feast with the resources available, as Tarzan is probably going to want to look to make a play top side. I think a wave might be building, but it's quite hard to build a wave against a Ngar when you are about the same range as him, as interestingly enough, Suning actually opt to back off. Maybe Huanfeng has completed his Leandries. Otherwise, this is a very odd recall, I would say, because you did have the opportunity, and we see that the Leandries does come in. Interestingly enough, Umbroglaive coming out here from SOFM. I'm not even surprised anymore, as the man is known for being a utility player even when he is playing damage, it seems, as he goes for the Umbroglaive first item, wanting to be as much of a resource for his team as possible, wanting to literally blind the members of LNG, poke out their eyes. As speaking of which, Tarzan is in his top side jungle, does manage to channel his recall off, will now be heading towards the bot side. So at least for the next minute or minute and a half, Suning's bot side is going to be, at least LNG's bot side can play a little bit safer, knowing that their Lee Sin is going to be skulking off in the distance, as On just continuously trying to apply as much vision as possible where possible when I1D does leave. And in the top side, Ale is falling a little bit behind now in terms of in terms of CS, while Bin with his fleet footwork is able to just play as aggressively as he wants to be. SOFM is still being babysat here up in the top side, with Angel constantly allowing him to, the priority that Angel is providing him, constantly allowing him to get the small advantages of the Scuttle Crabs. And now it looks like there's going to be a bit of a contest here for mid priority, as Icon trying his best to harass, trying his best to push out the waves as well. And now the entourage of Suning are heading their way towards bot side. A bunch of pings are going down. Will this be a Barret Dragon attempt, or will this be for tower? I think it is for tower, as Suning not at all interested in the Dragon, although Windrake, one might argue, is one of the better one dragons to have. And as the Rift Herald is spawned, this time Tarzan is down here. Teleports yet again are available. Light this time is in the mid lane, as unfortunately the wave actually catches the Rift Herald. This is catastrophic, as Tarzan sneaks behind it, does manage to get a smite off, and the charge doesn't go off. Catastrophic. Suning actually fumble it big time, as they could have gotten a free tower, if not at least 4 platings there. As LNG, very good defense. Tarzan was in the area, unfortunate timing. Now Angel is making his way up towards top side. Ale, with this next wave crashing, could be in a little bit of danger, sitting on that control ward. Ale probably suspects something something nefarious is going on here. Could be jumped on here as the ward does provide a vision now for Angel. But looks like Ale is going to be safe at least for now, as he's going to step now into his lane. If he steps up a little bit too far, that claw can come in from over the wall. That thick chunk of wall is not going to provide enough protection, but Tarzan and Light are making their way now towards topside. In comes the claw. Will it push him into position? No, it doesn't. Angel gets pushed into the wrong position as the now comes in against the wall. Ultimate comes down, slicing Maelstrom, stuns out Bin under tower, but the damage is enough. The CC is enough, and eventually Ale does fall. So a nice initial play coming in here from Suning, giving them a little bit of a lead. Just about 2k right now as On continues to get vision towards the bot side. LNG so far are being pressured. So far, very even game coming out from either side, as Dragon is started up. Huanfeng is now starting to be a bit more of a nuisance with the blue buff, with the Liandry's Anguish, with the ability to just poke from so far. LNG need to get an all-in this bot side if they want to stop this harass from continuously being applied. But against the Trundle, again, with his early power, it's going to be a little bit harder. So already Suning are in a slightly better position, as Bin is also garnering himself a little bit of a CS lead. Already the ultimates coming out here from Huanfeng just to try and harass down Light as much as possible. But Light does have the Vamp Scepter, will be able to sustain a little bit at least, but not very much compared to the continuous poke coming out from this blue buffed up Ziggs. Tarzan in the top side cannot do anything for his team right now. Can't really find anything either, as diving Angel is going to be a little bit hard. Easier now considering he doesn't have the Glacial Tomb anymore to use for safety or to turn a fight. But On and SOFM have now paired up, are looking to get some vision up towards this top side for this next Rift Herald, which hopefully will be used better as the Satchel Charge goes down bot side. Huanfeng securing himself the first tower, and although the tower does eventually fall in favor of Suning, it's kind of to be expected when you have a Ziggs. He does not get the plating that he would otherwise have gotten if Suning managed to get that first Rift Herald to charge, but it looks like that doesn't matter now. Huanfeng does have teleport, while Light does not. So for now, this is looking like a 4v4, but could very quickly turn into a 5v4 in favor of Suning, as Rift Herald is going to be started up here. Huanfeng is heading back to the base, and it looks like LNG are not even going to fool themselves today. They're just going to allow SN to take this. They already, I think, are pretty happy with having delayed the first Rift Herald. At least they've stopped the side of Suning from getting a bigger gold injection. First tower still does fall, but that really doesn't matter at this point. It's about cutting your losses, and so far LNG doing a phenomenal job. Still only a 2k lead in favor of Suning. Looking at the items across the board, mythic items are being complete now on the side of LNG from the jungler as well as the AD carrier. Those are really the members that you want mythics on every member. Meanwhile, on the side of Suning, a few more mythics have come in now for Bin as well as Angel and Huanfeng. Those are definitely the people that you want mythics on. SOFM, be interesting to see what he goes for here. Will he go for a Prowler's Claw mythic, or maybe even go for a more crit-esque build with, of course, the shield bow? Against the side of LNG, he could honestly go for full lethality and look to make some big plays, as all members of LNG are mighty squishy, with the exception of Tarzan, who's going to be a bit of a bruiser. So kind of the same. And of course, Iwandi, without really getting any gold due to being a support, is probably not going to have a really good time either when it comes to clearing out, so when it comes to tanking out the damage, as Rift Herald being spawned mid will signal the fall of LNG's mid lane tower. Icon poke in for some harass, actually getting tons of damage now onto On, as Satchel Charge isn't even necessary in order for Rift Herald to take down the tier 3 tower. Dragons will be spawning in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, followed by Baron buff a minute after. Let's see what can go on here, as LNG now walking into the river, looking to secure whatever vision they can. Suning have transitioned into a 1-3-1, which has been matched out by LNG, but the game plan right now for Suning is pretty much play for objectives, get some poke down onto Huanfeng, and then let the team fights unwind. LNG do have a harder time when it comes to accessing team fights. They're going to need to look for some really killer flanks. Of course, going front to back against Suning in this situation is quite suicidal, considering they do have the range advantage as well as a ton of CC from both Bin as well as Angel. And of course, the zone control coming out of the Trundle Ziggs combination, as we previously alluded to in Champ Select, means that it is even harder now. So LNG need to look for flanks. Suning just need front to back, get some poke. So vision is going to be very, very important now for Suning. They need to be first to the objective, and they need to get some vision established. LNG, of course, if they do get vision control over the river, we will still not be able to do some objectives with ease of mind, without without concern because of course of the poke that can come raining in by the Ziggs from over the wall. That being said, LNG do have some fantastic objective damage, especially once the Vayne gets more items, as Icon now jumping in onto Angel does have the Attract Repel available as the Glacial Tomb is used onto Icon, dealing really negative damage as Angel takes almost all of his HP down. LNG are looking to invade this blue buff, wanting to take it away from the Ziggs, as it eventually does get taken away by Tarzan, and now on forced to flash away from Iwandi, away from the crash down. And Iwandi, despite being slowed, will be safe, really just waiting for his steed to come back off of cooldown, mounting up and getting out of there. Baron now, with Dragon now gone for 20 seconds, I forgot to say LNG, dude, that's a good way of securing themselves a bit of an advantage, as SOFM does lose, oh my goodness, his flash as well as his ultimate to an attempt at taking away Grump. I guess this signals Suning's disinterest in competing for this, as both top laners still staying up towards the top side. LNG starting it now, Suning not looking at all interested in trying to contest this second dragon of the game. Of course, dragons are not really the win condition here for either team, as Bin does manage to tear down the top lane tower. All the outer towers now have fallen on the side of LNG, leading to a 3k gold lead in favor of Suning, as now Tarzan, having just completed this, having just killed off Ocean Drake, will be able to look for something to do, I suppose. Now, Ziggs is quite a big of a nuisance, and I like what LNG are doing. The fact that they are invading, keeping the timer on the blue buff, and then looking to take it away from Huanfeng. The goal is not to steal it, of course. The goal is to just not have it on to Huanfeng. Now, Huanfeng, as you can see, based off his mana bar, is already suffering the effects of being starved out from a blue buff, as looks like Ale is way too far out of position, as Angel, SOFM, and On are looking to corral around him. Bin does have teleport into his bot side, as it looks like Ale is just teleporting back to his base. Pings do go out, which means that Suning do see that, and they will let him go for it. Now, Huanfeng is a little bit in danger, does throw everything down onto himself. I suppose Icon did try to jump in on him. Now looks like LNG are wrapping around on the people who try to flank their top laner, as On is going to get chained up there by Icon, who eventually takes the distortion back, not feeling particularly safe, I suppose. But if they continue, they actually could have gotten 2 free kills. But I suppose the lack of vision is the reason that they will not continue, because they had no idea where SOFM was. They had no idea what wards were available for Bin in order to get a flank going on. And of course, Bin did hit Mega Ngar form. So far, River Control at least is very, very heavily in favor of Suning. They're doing a fantastic job just controlling the vision. Now, LNG are fighting back for a little bit of that. But for now, this has been a pretty calm game, especially considering the fact that we are in the LPL. It has hit the 20-minute mark. Both teams really not getting too much of an advantage. Suning, of course, do have the 4k gold lead, which is actually starting to balloon a little bit. So LNG could be said to be slightly behind at this point, but so far they really aren't playing like they are in an uncomfortable situation at the least, as now Suning trying to take away the blue buff of LNG to try and give it to Huanfeng. We see him waddling up from mid lane, but eventually it does go to... Who took it? Wait, what? I think Angel has it. Maybe the animation of just being Lissandra is a little bit too big, but I'm pretty sure that Angel has the blue buff. And in the bot side, really, there's nothing to watch in this top lane fight, because Bin is just going to want to try and crash as many waves as possible into the tower. Meanwhile, Ale, without a very good wave clear himself, can just soak up as many waves as he can, as the CS lead continues to grow in favor of Bin. Now, LNG, they are kind of just fighting to scale, I think, and looking for the opportunities through objectives to get some flanks off, or of course through rotations after picking up waves with Iwandi, with Tarzan, with Ale, and of course with Icon skulking around, as we saw in the TL versus TSM match. Jensen on the LeBlanc able to just jump in from every odd angle and absolutely chunk out members of TSM, if not kill them straight out, especially as the game goes later on. Suning are not extremely tanky. Huanfeng, key target. Angel, if he doesn't proc his aftershock, is actually very squishy himself. SOFM as well does go for the shield bow, which is going to provide him a little bit of tankiness, I suppose, but is still not going to be able to hold up to Icon as he jumps over the wall. SOFM waiting in the bush, looking to try and get some damage onto him. Now it looks like he could be slightly out of position, as Iwandi, if he cuts across mid lane into his own jungle, will actually be able to get a surround off onto SOFM, who uses the blast plant to get out of position. 1 minute and 40 seconds up until the first mountain dragon spawns onto the map. Baron has been on the field now for 2 minutes and 40 seconds, as the Horizon focus does come in now for Huanfeng. Second items rolling in for both AD carries, as mid laners now struggling to work towards their second items. Supports still in a dire position, especially Iwandi is still making his way towards his mythic. Meanwhile, SOFM has managed to get himself a bit of a gold lead, it seems, with the Umbroglaive, of course, being a lot cheaper than the Sterox. SOFM now is about to face check into 4 people, needs to be careful as I1D does have flash, could engage onto him. His Icon jumps over the wall, the chains do miss. In comes the Condemn, but Light is in the front lines, needs to be careful as a bunch of bombs fly in onto him, chunked to a third of his HP. Thankfully, he does have the Wit's End, and so he was able to survive there. Otherwise, he might have actually been taken down, or at least had his shield bow procced. We'll have the sustain and lifesteal from the shield bow in order to get back to full HP, as Icon now taking a bit of damage back himself. Icon dealing a bit of damage back himself, and it looks like for the next 40 seconds at least, or most likely the next minute, Suning are going to be able to get this dragon. Looks like LNG are not going to be interested in the least at trying to contest this. And now let's see what goes on here, as Bin now stepping up from behind, hiding now behind the corner, looking for an opportunity to jump in onto Ale, as Tarzan stepping forward as well. Suning are in position to start up this dragon when it spawns in 20 seconds time, but mid priority is going to go into in neither team's favor, I suppose. Icon now is making his way through his own jungle, but it is heavily warded. They do have eyes on him, and the Umbroglaive is actually so huge. Tarzan does have a Sonic Wave onto On, could look to kick him into his entire team. A 4-man kick can do very much, might not be everything, but it could be very huge, as unfortunately Icon runs right into Bin, distorts over the wall into a Mega Ngar, and gets pinned against the wall, which I think signals what we already know. The LNG will lose this dragon. Unfortunately, will not be able to trade very much back, will not take mid tower, will take Raptors away from SOFM, and just like that, Huan Feng does need to be careful. If he's picked off here, this could lead to a little something. But Light still in need of his Ginsus in order to make plays, as Light stepping forward very aggressively. Angel could have taken that claw and flashed onto him, but Light does have cleanse, keep that in mind, has yet to use it this entire game. Might lead some to forget, but he still does have his cleanse, which really makes Angel not want to ult him. Icon is probably going to want to pick up a Banshee's Veil somewhere along the line, because of course of the instant point and click CC that Angel's Frozen Tomb does provide him, as the teleports do go up towards the top side. Both mid laners looking to try and stymie each other's aggression, looking to create and stymie each other's aggression, and already moving now towards Baron, encircling it other members of Suning, as the vision now gets transitioned from bot side towards top side. And let's see what happened here. Bin actually stepping out of vision, hiding so perfectly well, even the sweeper doesn't pick him up, as he flashes right on to Icon. No distortion used at all, it seems, as a nice play was found there by the top laner of Suning. And the vision is so heavily in favor of Suning, it's kind of gross, but I suppose that's what happens when you have a 4,000 gold lead, able to muscle your way into your opponent's jungle. But to the credit of I1D and Tarzan, they are playing pretty well together to try and secure whatever vision they can in favor of their team. But SOFM with the Umbroglaive, which has paid itself over, I think, twice at this point, paid for itself twice over, I think, at this point, with the number of wards he's managed to one-shot as a Graves. Of course, Graves not having the Umbroglaive means you have to literally 3-shot a ward when you only have 2 bullets left. That's quite a nuisance, I suppose. And now, I1D and Icon, at least blue buff was given over to the side of LNG. SOFM does need to be careful, looking to one-shot out their ward, does use his collateral damage. And so far, we've only really seen that spell used to get SOFM across terrain and to get away from opponents. So that's the first quote-unquote aggressive usage of that spell that we've seen, using it to stall a recall coming out from I1D. But really, it won't do too much. So, on the side of Suning, they have decent Baron damage themselves with Huan Feng as well as SOFM, but really not as superior as the Baron damage coming out from the single character, which is Light, who is now working towards his Ginsus, and once that's complete, he will really be at his power spike point. So, LNG doing a good job stalling out, only falling behind by about 4k, and managing to maintain a presence at least on the map. Now, it looks like a little fight could brew a little bit over here, but it's just so hard for LNG to find avenues with the vision control that Suning has managed to stress, and with the zone control that the bot lane of Suning provides. But there is no such thing as impossible, I suppose, as Angel now being jumped onto by Icon. Icon does use his ultimate, chunking Icon to half. With that being said, could LNG look to make a play here with that key ultimate being down? With a quick recall, I think Icon will be able to get back onto the map, and they can look for about a minute to try and make a play. But I suppose in that minute is going to lead to dragon preparations. In which case, the best we can see is Soul Point, or maybe a second dragon coming out here for the side of LNG. So really, there isn't too much to look forward to. It looks like this actually might be a 6-item game. We might be going into some Dota territory, ladies and gentlemen. We might legitimately be starting to see some, who knows, some 6-item fights going on here, as Huan Feng is actually building himself up a massive gold stockpile, now almost completed with his death cap. Even holding that Oblivion Orb in place, will have 4.5 items at that point in time. In which case, really his bombs might one-shot, like at least I think a couple of bombs might trigger the shield bow immediately, or at least the bouncing grenade as well as the Mega Inferno Bomb will most likely trigger the shield bow. Interestingly enough, remember that LNG was the one who opted into this matchup. It was the Ziggs pick into late. It was the Vayne pick into the Ziggs pick. As Bin now is just constantly just bashing down this tower, and it's really nothing much that Ale can do. Falling behind 2 levels is Ale. Dragon is spawning in 50 seconds time. But looks like Bin, having picked up his wits end, is actually feeling kind of fearless because of course it provides him protection as well as some damage stats. At least the attack speed allows him to siege down towers a lot faster. Against this double AP mid and top duo that LNG are running, honestly, Icon hasn't really been able to make very many plays. Then again, his team has been behind, so I really wouldn't put it as a fault. As Tarzan now jumping in onto On, forcing a stun out, as Icon now jumping in over the wall as well, forcing out the ultimate. Subjugate is down on to LNG's mid laner in the bot side. Ale forced to flash away, as across the board, different teams are trading back and forth like professional boxers. On needs to be careful, can get one shot to the Icon, as Icon is face checked by SOFM. Does have the protection though of the shield bow, which was not even procced at that point, as Bin now forced to flash away from the fight, but Light is pursuing. Does have the Ginsus, forcing out a cleanse with the wallop, but very nicely played here. Pretty much Captain Jack coming out from Light as a 4v5 situation unfolds. LNG trying to stop Suning. Flash comes in from Iwandi, not able to get anybody with the ultimate as the Glacial Tomb comes down. Tarzan looking for a kick, does not manage to get it as he kicks SOFM away from his team. Ale jumping for it with the ultimate, will not be able to close the gap, as LNG's AD carry does manage to finish off the support from Suning. Finally, some action unfolds before us, as LNG just pulling the trigger, looking for an opening, closing the goal lead by 1k, and now with half HP on 3 members are looking to threaten Baron. However, Huan Feng is still alive. SOFM does get taken out, but the Red Smite will trade Icon right back, as it's a 4v2 situation, but the members alive for Suning are full HP, full mana, in which case Huan Feng is going to be able to just chuck grenade after grenade in, but Light is doing this so freaking quickly. As the harass does come in, the Mega Inferno Bomb does come in, the Satchel Charge is there as well, the bouncing grenades do tag out Iwandi, as Tarzan's taken so incredibly low, but Ale does manage to kill out Huan Feng. Teleport coming in, it is Bin, does not have flash available to him, and LNG just split up and look to run for the hills, but Suning will eventually allow this to pass, and the damage coming out from Light as soon as Ginsus is picked up. LNG just go pedal to the metal and force it down Suning's throats. Beautiful play. They will lose tier 2 mid tower, but really that is not too bad considering the fact that they did manage to win a fight and managed to limp away with Baron buff, and already the goal lead again closes now, 2k only in favor of Suning, as Bin was jumped onto here. Light, beautiful backstep into an instant cleanse on the wallop, finishing off Bin pretty much solo in that situation. And then LNG just say, alright, pedal to the metal. They don't have Ngar, they don't have the pillar. Tarzan looking to line up a beautiful kick as the fighting ensues. Mega Inferno Bomb is used to clear out a wave, but there will be another wave as Ale is jumped onto here. The pillar slowing him significantly, the collateral damage coming out, tagging him out as well, getting him a little bit low. This might be enough for Suning to push away the first round of onslaughts, but there's still all the towers available. LNG have so many comeback mechanics, so much gold spread out across the map, as Suning have so many things that they need to defend. And really, this Baron is massive because, of course, LNG can pick up 3 outer towers and 3 tier 2 towers, which are worth 600 gold a piece in the side lanes. So this is absolutely massive. And all Suning need to do, of course, is hold on for the next minute and 30 seconds, while LNG just need to begin sieging down one lane. A lot was used there by Suning to ward off the first initial push. But it looks like LNG are back out onto the map yet again, playing towards bot side, trying to clear out and get as much vision as possible. Looks like they are literally going to play towards bottom lane. And Suning will be able to push in mid lane, at least quite deep into the side of LNG, but Ale and Icon are in position to look for it. The teleports are not available for any of the solo laners, so a fight could be unwinding here as Suning now wrapping around the members of LNG. Is going to be a 3 It's going to be a 4v4 situation kind of, but alas, they opt to not go for it. A lot of posturing and backing off going on in this team by both sides as they all playing very safely, I guess recognizing their win conditions. And now LNG pinging towards the top side, wanting to take even more gold, wanting to get even more onto their key members as Light going back to the base, completing now his Blade of the Ruined King is going to be able to shred through everything. It's going to have so much sustain going into all of these fights. And pretty much if a fight can go on right off the bat without too much poke going down onto the members of LNG, Suning are going to be in so much trouble as Light is definitely mechanical enough to be able to just absolutely play the fights fantastically as tier 3 out tower falls yet again. Mega Inferno Bomb is used, but this time doesn't even manage to clear the waves, but the poke does come down. Tarzan and Iwandi are both chunked low, been trading back tier 2 bot side in all 600 gold. So in terms of gold, Suning are definitely a hit in terms of their trade, but Iwandi jumps in over the wall. SFM is instantly exploded by the onslaught of LNG as every member just jumps forward. The distortions, the tumbles, Light stepping forward now does have the cleanse available, does need to use it instantly as the glacial tomb comes down. Light stepping forward aggressively. Yet again, the rest of his team not really postured around him. I like what Light's trying to do here. He's trying to force it. He's trying to ensure that Suning do not manage to poke down his team. He's trying to make sure that the fight unwinds as quickly as possible. But Dragon is spawning in 50 seconds time. This is soul for Suning. LNG need to scramble back onto the map, need to get a quick recall off. 45 seconds to go. They will have just barely enough time to be in position as On now is putting down as much vision as possible. And of course, he does not have very many wards and there's really no control wards out on the map. He is going to be recalling now, which means LNG are going to be in position first, even though they were not there for the vision. And if Light gets his hands onto the Dragon for even a brief duration of time, Dragon will fall. Give him quite literally 5 seconds and Dragon will cease to exist. As now, Suning scrambling as best as they can to get into position. LNG are the ones grouped up first, but they don't know that. Suning forced to back off now as in comes the push from LNG, the Vanguard coming in. Ale, Tarzan, and Iwandi clearing out the way, but Light opting for the safest path possible, actually walking through bot tribush. Iwandi being tagged out a little bit, and now the poke of Suning really needs to get the job done. Light starting up, Dragon being jumped onto by Icon as the entire onslaught of damage comes through by the wit's end, providing him tons of sustain. Ale does have a very nice flank going on. They don't have very much vision on him, only that pink ward, but he's staying out of range of it. As in comes Iwandi with the Trike Repel, and in comes the ultimate coming from Iwandi, and right now Light is just taking over. The fight is complete untouched, flashing away from Bin. Beautiful play as he continues to shred him down completely, and that was exactly the fight. That was it. Light just going off with the Vein Pig, playing so mechanically, it's insane. Flashing away from Bin, seeing the threat, identifying it, and then just going off. Beautiful. And despite playing that perfectly, Light still got so incredibly low in that fight. I was focusing entirely on the AD carry from LNG because really that's what his team needs. It's all about creating space for the Vayne, rushing in and allowing her to follow suit. As we see here, let's see what else unwinded aside from Light popping off as Ale flashes in, gets a very nice 2-man ultimate. Angels pretty much instantly eradicated. Ale pops his Zonias after taking all the damage, and Light, look at that, flashing away from the Mega Ngar, and then Tarzan jumping in with Icon to finish off Huan Feng. So everyone played their parts to perfection in that fight. It wasn't just the AD carry of LNG, but of course just being able to witness the beautiful mechanics that he was able to just display, to just absolutely show to the world. It's just beautiful. Words cannot describe. And now, after that, we are in a tied game with gold. It's slightly in favor now of LNG instead. And although the game might feel tied, really LNG feel like they've got a chokehold on the game, as Suning are still able to exert some pressure onto the map, but really just don't feel like they are as comfortable in as comfortable of a position as they were just 10 minutes ago. As Light now, we're watching him farm Krugs while actual action is happening across the map. That shows you just how key this man is at level 18. Probably finishing up on his last and final item, probably a GA at this point in time. And there we go. And now, if it wasn't hard enough to kill him the first time, you're gonna have to do it again. This time, however, will it be possible? A huge bot wave has been built in favor of LNG, and Suning are going to be losing a ton of resources. Meanwhile, on the top side, Icon also pushing in the top side, which means LNG right now are just playing the map so much better. Have managed to secure all the outer towers, but vision is in favor of LNG. Also up towards the top side, Suning are kind of slacking behind. Not quite sure what is going on here, as they're just opting to play through mid lane, trying their best to get whatever vision possible, but there's so much darkness and uncertainty around the top side as most of their vision is towards the bottom side. Angel is very much fallen off. This pick hasn't really been able to do too very much, unfortunately, for the side of Suning. As Light now looking to go in, pretty much he is at 6 items. There is no need for him to farm anymore. And looking across the board at the items, 5 items coming in now for either top laner, 5.5 for Bin. Meanwhile, both the junglers stuck at a very comfortable 3.5 items. Both mid laners very comfortably sitting on 4 items. In fact, actually, Icon is at 5 items. So Angel quite significantly behind. Meanwhile, AD carry wise, both at full items, and supports, you really need not say anything because supports will never get to 6 items. A day the supports get to 6 items is the day that League of Legends games go longer than Dota games. As I want to jump in now, getting onto both the support as well as the jungler, and just like that, the remainder of LNG falls in. Suning crumble under the pressure as he jumps in now onto Light, but Light with the cleanse is just able to kite away, and just like that, I think the game is over. Light is going to hunt Suning in their nightmares, in their dreams, and with a quick bot push, LNG are looking to close out this game. Nice engage from Iwandi, catching both SOFM and on right off the bat. They get eradicated by the follow-up from Ale. And before SOFM can even use his collateral damage, before he can really even use any of his spells, he just gets eviscerated. And right now, the game is over. Pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching, I suppose. Because LNG just have so much damage. They have so much to work with. They only have 20 seconds now onto Angel, 10 seconds onto SOFM. But really, at the pace that these towers are falling, there is not much at all. And it looks like it's back to the drawing board for Suning as LNG, in fantastic fashion, playing to their win conditions and allowing their players to shine, absolutely take over game 1. Beautifully done. And thank you guys so much for watching, as I previously mentioned, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for game 2. See ya!